Hello everyone, welcome back to Tableau tutorials. In this video we are going to discuss about the calculated field in Tableau. So up till now we have created many things such as hierarchies, parameters, sets, groups and combinations out of the general fields that we have available in Tableau. Okay. So now what we are going to do is create a calculated field out of the general fields that are available. Now what is a calculated field? As the name suggests, calculated field is a special field that is created or that applies a particular calculation onto the already existing fields. Now what calculations we can apply? It could be anything ranging from the mathematical, logical, relational functions to the date functions, some special kind of functions, etc. There is a wide variety of the functions that are supported by Tableau, on the basis of which we can create calculated field. But first of all, let's see what is the importance of this calculated field. Why do we need it, right? So what I'm gonna do is get my this thing over here into the rows. Okay, it's again category segment. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is actually edit it. So bring in category, subcategory and segment. That's the thing that we saw in the previous video, but we forgot to change its name. Okay, so click on OK and then we are fine. I am not going to work with all of them because that would be monotonous to look at, so I'm just going to select 2 to 3 things from each of these categories and click on OK, just the ones that we are fine with, and let's just increase its space a little bit. Okay, now let's just bring in some fields like the sales field and the profit field over here. Okay, now the thing is we want to convert it into a table, so we can just go to the show me tab and click on this table option, right? And that's it, it's been converted into a table of 2 columns, right? And just change it to the entire view like this. Okay, so now what we have is we can change the order. First the sales should be shown and then the profit should be shown. Now we see that there is this particular subcategory or the combination, that is the consumer segment, in the bookcases subcategory and the furniture category, that is giving me a loss, and all of the rest are giving me a profit. Okay, so suppose this is actually a really important information. Okay, and what I want is that this loss amount or whatever loss I'm getting should be depicted in a different manner, maybe with a red color or somewhat different than already existing values or than the rest of the values, right? So how I'm gonna proceed with it is I have to create a calculated field, and that calculated field will make sure that wherever I'm getting a loss, that would depict it in a different kind of fashion. Okay, so let's see how do we create it. Let's go to this particular field on which we want to create a calculated field. Right click, go to create and click on calculated field. So this is the kind of the dialog box that you will see once you opt for the creation of a calculated field. The first thing is the name, so I am going to name it as profit versus loss, but that's totally up to you. You can give any name that you want. Here you will already find the field written where you have selected the calculated field to be shown. If you want, you can just simply remove it. There are 2 ways through which you can work with it. Is either if you know the code, you can just write the code, but as we have already discussed, Tableau can work with the beginners as well. For those of you who don't know how to code, you also can work in Tableau. So what we have got is a list of all these operations or all these categories of the operations that are available in Tableau. Like we go to the logical operations, so these are all the logical functions that are available in Tableau, right? Like the if function, so we can simply just use the if function. Whole of its explanation is given, which you can yourself read, and if you want to apply it, you can simply just double click. Okay, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that if the value of the profit is greater than equal to 0, then we want it to be categorized as profit. Otherwise we want to be categorized it as a loss, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a function that's the sum of profit, and that's how you just depict the fields, that is in the single squares. If sum of profit is greater than or equal to 0, then I want it to show profit, and that's a string value. So let me just get it into a string like this. Else I want it to show a loss, so in a string again, and then finally end like this. Okay, in case you are not sure how it works, you can just read this and then it would start to make sense. And now you can see the calculation is valid. That is a really important message, because if there is any error in your calculation, here is where it would be shown. Click on OK. Now this is the field that we have created, that's the profit versus loss field. If we just bring it into the colors part, so you can see actually it's working on the sales as well as the profit value. So let's just remove the sales from here and work with only the profit. Okay, so we are getting it on the profit, right? That is the two different colors. Now we can just play with the colors. How we already know, we can go to edit colors. For the loss, we want it to be depicted with a green color. For the loss with a red color and the profit with a green color. Click on apply, click on OK, and that's it. That's how you work with it. So this is the advantage of a calculated field. This is just one advantage. There are numerous other advantages of calculated fields. There are many more things, many more things that you can do with calculated fields, right? Let's just take another look at it. Once we have created the calculated field, we can edit it by right clicking, going to edit, and you can see that's the symbol of the calculated field. Okay, here are all the functions. You can either search for these values as well. Suppose let me just click on OK. I don't want to edit it, but I want to provide something else, and that is the sales value. Okay, so go to sales, create a calculated field. Here I have the sales metric. Okay, so these are the functions that I can apply on this value, right? They are all these things available, and we know in the sales we have some of the amount that is present in the decimal format. Suppose we don't want that, we want a rounded off number. So you can see there is a function called round that would generate exactly that, right? So we can just bring out this function, double click on it, and provide the metric, that's number or the sales value. Actually not the sales value, but the sum of sales. Okay, so that should be the sum of sales, and to how many decimals you want to round it off. So I want to round it off to just one decimal place, and just close this function. Click on apply, click on OK. Now the sales metric is created. Let me just create another sheet and rename it as calculated field 2. Okay, now what happens is let me just get a distinction between the two. I would be getting this particular metric over here and the normal sales value into the text, and the sales metric into the text as well. But that's kind of creating a mess. So what I'm getting is just the sales metric over here. Okay, and if we just bring the sales metric into the labels part, then it is giving me these values, all these values. If you want to change the way it looks, you can just go to the format tab, make sure it's there, and select the currency. So what is it showing me? 709030, like this. Okay, however, if we bring in the original sales value, right? Let me just bring the original sales value over here and remove this one and we can just change its value. So what will the difference be is that it would show us the decimal numbers, right? So that's how you can work with the calculated fields, and that's all for this video.